Was a girl running in our group. She had a high-speed motor in a 40 Ford coupe. She had a racing cam and a supercharged. Look out, buddy, hot rod and large. She's a hot rod. She's a hot rod.
Tesla is sending engineers and production staff from its recently upgraded Shanghai factory to its plant in Fremont, California, in a bid to boost production at the U.S. facility, according to people familiar with the plan. The Elon Musk-led car maker will dispatch staff, in particular automation and control engineers, to assist efforts to increase output in Fremont, where Tesla produces the Model S, X, 3, and Y vehicles. Well, that's all of them, isn't it? That's what the people said, asking not to be identified because the information is private. We got behind you, Elon. About 200 people were headed to California on assignments that will last 3 months, one of the people said. The first workers were setting off as soon as this month, they added.
Now remember, now he's also sending employees from Tesla and SpaceX to go help at Twitter.
Yes,
so now he's I'm getting worried that he's kind of spreading everybody thin here.
Well, he's got to go out and hire some.
Yeah.
He's going to have to hire a few people.
Okay, well, I'll call him after the show.
That's all there is to it. Tell him, go out and get him, go hiring some people. He'll hire you. My God, you're a genius. You can fix it for him. Now, some companies don't take kindly to Chinese people working in their plant. True Simple is it's a startup company. It's a self-driving startup trucking company. Said an investigation by its board showed some of its employees spent paid hours last year working for Hydron, a startup working on autonomous trucks mostly in China. So they've been moonlighting in China. In China, as Preach used to say. Shares of True Simple Holdings, Inc. nearly cut in half on Monday after the self-driving startup said it had removed CEO Hyodi Hu in connection. Who? Yeah, it's Xiaodi. Hyodi Hu, H-O-U, in connection with the company's ties to a China-backed firm. True Simple said in a securities filing that an investigation by its board showed some of its employees spent paid hours last year working for Hydron Inc., a startup working on autonomous trucks in Florida. China. Hughes confirmed in a WeChat post. What the heck is WeChat now? It's something I haven't heard of.
No, it's the kids are using it.
Are they? Okay. That he had been removed as chairman and CEO by True Simple's board. He got fired, but denied any wrongdoing, said that the move was without cause. It is so unfair to let politics get in the way of the dream we are pursuing together, he said. Well, guess what, Mr. Hugh? You are out. You're fired. Get out. Well, it was a matter of time, Chuck, before we started talking about the electric vehicles and the things that are doing things. But first, I got to tell you, this little blurb here made my day. This made my day. Each of the 6 major public dealership groups is taking in less gross profit per used vehicle, while a pair of them have seen used vehicle sales volumes tumble. As a once hot used car market slows down, and it is good. Each of the 6 major public dealership groups is taking in less gross profit per used vehicle, while a pair of them has seen used vehicle sales volumes tumble. The 6 major, I don't know if you've heard any of these. I have Penske, AutoNation Inc., Lithia, Penske, Group 1, Ashbury, Sonic I've heard of. All reported per used vehicle profitability declines for the third quarter, ranging from 11% to 31%.
So imagine that, 31%.
They were
profit.
gouging.
Right.
They've been gouging us on these cars.
Right.
For how long? They're losing their money. Gouge. They're not losing they're actually losing sales now because the sales has gone down, and they're having to wheel and deal. They're having to give up that $3,000 extra that they charge for a car that's worth 10. They're charging 13. You can't do that. Well, you can when the times are right, and the times have been ripe for just such a problem.
Well, it's interesting. There was a quote here from Roger Penske that talks about. He says, "We've really been moved out of our sweet spot because the cost of a sale has moved up anywhere from $4,000 to $5,000." So I don't even understand what he means by that.
The cost
of a sale.
The cost of the sale would be the cost of the car you bought, along with the time you have it on your lots, paying the juice on it for the floor plan, and what you had to put into it, and blah blah blah. That profit is going down because they're not getting the extra $2,000 and $3,000 on top of what they should get.
Right. Okay.
Okay. The cost. The car needs certain things. Used cars always need something. That's another thing we have to touch on. And this is very important. Anybody looking for a used car, you get it to your tech and get it looked over before you sign on the dotted line.
Absolutely.
Because there is nothing left out there. Can I tell you? All the lease cars, it got sold privately. There's just been no sales. There's been nothing. And what's left are cars that people have been patching together, piecing together, bubble gum and baling wire, tinfoil, you name it, they're doing it. You see all those funny posts on Facebook where guys are using vice grips to fix suspension and steering?
Yeah.
That's not a joke. There is stuff going on out there that you just wouldn't believe. And if I can lose a $20 pair of vice grips to make $4,000 extra on a car, I'll do it. You know what I'm saying? That's the kind of attitude we're up against. And they are. These cars that are out there, the used cars, you make sure you get them inspected. And none of them got under 100,000 miles on them.
Yeah.
Because all those good lease cars are gone. Mm-hmm. And now General Motors has said the new lease cars will have to be turned in. They can't be sold. You can't buy it.
Okay.
All right, as the lessee.
Okay.
You can't buy that. You have to turn it into them. This way they'll have a glut
they need
of used cars. Mm-hmm. And they'll be good ones. They'll be 3 years old with 30,000 miles on them. They'll be great cars to sell. And they'll be nice cars to have for the people that don't want to buy new.
So you're saying they're trying to get that incentive back up, trying to get the profit per vehicle back up higher than what it is now.
Well, simply because you sign a lease on that 3 years, there's a certain amount of miles involved, and the old lease in the fine print it said you have the right to buy that car out for this amount of money right now, and when the lease is over. And they put an amount in there the day they wrote the lease. They calculated what it would be worth in 3 years at 30,000 miles, and they put a price in there. Well, everybody, with the pandemic and the price of used cars, everybody went, I'm going to buy it, and then I'm going to sell it and make money.
Make double your money.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Besides that, when they went to the dealer didn't have another car for them to lease.
Right.
So why would you turn it in if you can't have another car?
Well, that puts another interesting spin on things is you show up, they say, okay, give me your car. It's like, well, what am I going to, we have nothing for you to take, but you can't have this one, but you can't take another one.
Right.
So how does that work?
Yeah, well, and the whole thing, this whole chip thing, I have a friend that just bought a new Ford pickup, and he ordered it. Mm-hmm. It's going to take 1 year to get.
Wow.
It takes 1 year to get, but he got a price of 70-some thousand because he got a really good deal on it.
Okay.
If he'd have taken one off the lot, 110.
100 something, yeah.
110.
Wow.
So they'll give you a good price on a vehicle if you don't mind waiting a year, because they're only making so many because the dealers don't want a big lot full of cars.
But he also may get one with pink and polka dots, though.
Well, yeah, or leopard skin interior. I've seen those. God. You know, Sir Charles, executive, we are destined to talk about precious materials. Mm-hmm. I'm not even going to start the rant that I have over where is the electricity going to come from.
Right.
Let's just talk about the batteries.
Okay.
It takes huge amounts of minerals, precious minerals, that are available in certain places. and to make one battery. So are we saving the earth or are we destroying it? You tell me. Here's a couple things I want to tell you about. U.S. mining needs major boosts to meet surging electric vehicle demand. Yes, it does. And you should know this. In the U.S. and other nations, if the U.S. and other nations hope to achieve their targets on electric vehicle adoption, which is very lofty, I might add, supply chains for critical materials such as lithium and nickel will need to be built up to a significant degree, and fast, right now. In order to meet carbon emission goals set around the world, the auto industry needs about 50 more lithium mines, 60 more nickel mines, 17 more cobalt mines, just to meet electric vehicle demand projections for 2030. This is the International Energy Agency found this in a July report, or printed in a July report. The automakers look to sell more battery electric vehicles as the governments move to reduce the number of gasoline-powered vehicles sold. Passenger battery electric vehicles are expected to account for the bulk of rising demand for such critical materials, which are required to make EV batteries, Chuck. Now, we're going to tear up some stuff, and guess what? We're going to tear it up here. Sourcing the necessary metals will be a daunting task, said J.P. Martins, a partner at consulting firm Partners in Performance. Not only are some materials found in just certain corners of the world, when it comes to sourcing them locally, time will be an added challenge. Getting a new mine up and running in the U.S. can take as long as a decade. The big hurdle to meeting these goals, Martin says, is where on earth are all the materials going to come from? Well, if he's that sure that they're going to have trouble building batteries, he's almost as sure as I am that they're never going to have the infrastructure to charge them.
Right.
I just don't get it now. This isn't good. Companies are racing to the bottom of the sea to mine rocks rich with scarce EV battery materials. But environmental concerns and automaker moratoriums could slow this pace. Mining companies are going to great lengths to get the raw materials for electric vehicle batteries, even miles below the ocean surface. They are racing to tap into these seabed stockpiles, striking deals, developing mining process and equipment, and striving to be eco-friendly. How can you be eco-friendly if you're taking something out of my ocean?
You do it very carefully.
Yeah. Meanwhile, what if we need it in our ocean? Meanwhile, environmental groups want to slow the rush until more is known about the impact on this largely untouched area of the earth. Absolutely. The ocean floor is not, nobody bothers to look at it. Several automakers have joined a moratorium on sourcing metals from seabed mining. The pebble to potato-sized rocks coating the seabed, called polymetallic nodules, contain vastly more nickel and cobalt than land reserves. In other words, land loads or loads in the mine. Terrestrial mining of these materials is burdened by dependence on China, environmental impact, and child labor use in Africa. A lot of people won't buy from China because that's as a political thing, and they won't buy because of the kids being used in Africa to mine the lithium.
Right.
You can't blame them. Well, the first country, actually there's more countries, but Germany's the big guy, the big car maker, calling for precautionary pause in deep sea mining. Germany joins countries including New Zealand and France in calling for a pause in seabed mining for battery metals, with domestic automakers VW and BMW saying they would not buy metals mined from the seabed. Germany has called for a pause in the developing seabed mining industry, saying not enough is known about the likely impacts of mining the seabed for battery metals. There's a lot known, they're just not telling us. The world's fourth biggest economy, which is Germany, joins countries with New Zealand, like New Zealand and France, calling for a mixed seabed mining exploration to stop until all the research is done. German automakers said they previously would not. They're not going to buy any of that crap from the sea. So here we are. Here we are. We're talking about what? We're talking about what coming from our ocean floor now, or digging a hole in Africa, or digging a hole in Montana. We need all those mines to do this stuff. We still, and we're going to keep. They're putting billions. I mean billions into plants, battery plants, manufacturing plants, car manufacturing plants, electric vehicle. And nobody, they're just rushing headlong. And nobody's looking side to side to see what gives. I mean, what are we doing? We're supposed to be saving our planet. According to the government, our government, we're going to save the planet by making everything 2035 is going to be all electric.
Right.
But we're going to ruin our planet getting enough raw material to build the stinking batteries. What is up with this? And another thing, here I may as well get into this because it just bothers me to death. The electricity to charge these batteries, where's it going to come from? There's 58 nuclear reactors in the world, and the United States has 2.
Right.
And 2 nuclear reactors is not going to develop enough electricity. Plus, it's got to be shipped all over. That electricity's got to be on the corner out here. I got to have plenty of voltage right out here to charge 16 units of condo their cars.
Right.
I mean, are we going to have a bolt of lightning come down every couple hours and charge up the earth?
That's how I power my DeLorean, you know.
that's when you go in your Back to the Future.
Yeah.
I can't for the life of me condone what they're going to do to this planet to get the necessary materials to build these batteries.